Scorpios. So please make sure to get this book at Amazon.com. The link will be in the description box below as usual. If you'd like to contact me for a person reading, my email address as well as the prices are in the description box below as usual. So the cards that I came up with for you Scorpios, this is going to be a very pivotal reading, right? But I'm going to go ahead and get straight to the point. I don't like to keep you guys, hold you guys' time too long. So you have the Four of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, you have the Six of Wands, Eight of Swords, the Emperor, right? Um, okay, so what's going on here is that you Scorpios have in mind, as the Four of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles, you have in mind, this is Mercury retrograde, so you have in mind kind of the friends from the past that, or people, whether they be friends, family from the past, that you kind of walked away from with a sour taste in each other's mouths. So as a result of this, you Scorpios want to go back and apologize. Um, you want to make it right. As I said before, Mercury retrogrades are about making things right. Everything that gets done on a Mercury retrograde, you got to check, micromanage, double check, triple check, just to make sure everything is put together and everything is in its own place. So what's happening here is that you guys are meeting the people that, thank you, you're meeting the people that you kind of ended with on terrible terms, and now you're making peace, essentially. You're asking them what went wrong, what was going on, is there anything that I could have done better? What is it that you think? What is the situation going on here? You're getting to know them all over again. You're trying to have them get to know you, really get to know you, And the thing is that the next couple of cards are the Page of Wands, the Seven of Swords, the Death, the Empress, and then you have the World, right? Because what's going on, oh, and you showed up in your own reading because Scorpios are represented as the Death card and the Tower. Now, some people will go ahead and say that the Death and the Tower card are terrible cards to have. That's definitely not true, because it really comes from a perspective of, it really comes down to your understanding of the Death card or the understanding of the Tower. But you guys showed up in your own reading, which means that you are definitely owning your own power, right? To where this is something that a lot of you Scorpios, you really want to do. You really want to make a better life for yourselves. And a lot of you Scorpios have realized that manipulating is not the best way to do that. You know what I mean? The best way to do that is to really be honest about your own intentions. Not that you can't protect yourself, or not that you're not supposed to protect yourself. Of course, you're supposed to do that. But there's ways of protecting yourself without manipulating and without protecting yourselves at other people's expense. So what's happening here is that you end up reconnecting with some people, more reconnection that you used to know, that you ended on terrible terms with. You talk to them, and it's great, because what's going on here is that, based upon what it is I'm seeing, y'all two end up meeting, right? Page of Wands, Seven of Swords. Y'all two, or how many, between you and how many friends, you sit down, talk with them alone. You end up meeting, having a conversation. These are the two cards that represents the conversation, right? One past friend after another, right? The Death, explaining to them your Scorpio ness, right? Why you keep secrets, and forcing yourself to open up, as opposed to being closed because of the ego. And the last two cards are the Empress, and then you have the World. So the Empress and the World card is about how you're like, okay, yeah, like, I owned that moment. I owned that discussion, because I sat there and I had a really great conversation with this person, because it was a real exchange between myself and this person, back and forth. I talked to them, they talked to me. I had listened to what they had to say, they listened to what I had to say, and there really was great communication. And I've said this before to the Scorpios, that's the thing that everyone needs. This is the reason why Mercury goes retrograde so many times out of the year, is because it's to teach people that you're terrible. And I'm not talking about Scorpios, period. Excuse me, I'm not talking about only Scorpios. I'm talking about people in general are terrible at verbal communication, and that they are reading. And I'm speaking as part Scorpio because I have Pluto and Scorpio in my 8th house. So people are terrible at communication, and they read too much into physical body language that don't really mean anything. They don't really mean anything as far as communication between themselves and another person, and people read too deeply into that. So now that you got this great conversation out of your system, you're now free to move on without having to look over your shoulder, without having to, have this kind of burden on your shoulders. And the thing is that the world card, to end of the world card, is great in this sense, because the world is a representation of how that's such a weight off of your shoulders now, at the fact that, people understand you more. You kind of, you know how to reestablish old relationships. You're taking a step forward into establishing new relationships, fresh relationships with people whom you never have met before, or you don't know, you talk to. And essentially, you're learning to become more social, which is great, because that's kind of what would balance out, or kind of make Scorpios a little bit less dogmatic, so to speak. So that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Peace.